Hi, I'm Mark Wilson. I'm 57 years old and I'm from the Seattle, Washington area. I've been asked many times just recently why I Cellercise, and so here's the answer. When I was in college, I was an athlete. I played on the football team. I was an All-American quarterback, and after college had an opportunity to play in the NFL and was fortunate to play for 10 years, 8 years with the Raiders and 2 years with the Patriots. And so for me as an athlete, being physically fit and being active has always been a really important part of my life, and it has been for as long as I can remember. But here just recently, in the last few years, when I would exercise and just do the things I always typically had done in the past to stay in shape, I would find that my knee would swell up and my Achilles would become so inflamed that I would limp around for about 2 weeks afterwards just trying to recover. And it got to the point where it was just so uncomfortable and frankly so painful that it just wasn't worth it. And so I kind of quit exercising. And of course, when you do that, this is what happens, and you start to gain weight. And as you gain weight, it puts more stress on your system, which means it's more uncomfortable and it's even more painful when you're active. And so you do less of that and then you gain more weight. And I found myself in this kind of downward spiral. And I wonder if that sounds familiar to anybody. And I thought it was just me. I thought it was the result of these football injuries that I'd had in the past. I've had my knee done 4 times and my Achilles repaired and an assortment of things. And I thought it was just those kind of things showing up later in my life. And as I paid attention, I found out that wasn't the case. It was really everybody kind of at my age and older. We're all dealing with kind of physical things that were keeping them from being fit and being as active as they would hope to be and as they had been in the past. And so we're kind of all in that same boat. Didn't like it, I gained some weight, didn't like that, but really, frankly, didn't know what to do about it. And that's where I was when I met a man named David Hall. And David was one of the original creators and developers of this thing that we refer to or think of as the mini rebounder or the mini trampoline. And as I talked with David and mentioned to him what was going on in my life, he said he had the answer. And the answer was the Cellerciser. Now I have to admit, the first time he showed me that Cellerciser, my first thought was, come on, David. I mean, really? I remember seeing one of these in my wife's grandmother's home when we were first married. I mean, this is a plaything, right? This is not something that is going to do anything really. But he explained to me that it uses the forces of acceleration and deceleration and gravity to create a G-force at the bottom of the bounce, and therefore a weight-bearing exercise at the bottom of the bounce on every cell in your body, all 75 trillion cells at the same time, and that you can do it without any impact or jarring that you typically get when you run on hard surfaces or do exercises on hard surfaces. And so he challenged me to do the Cellerciser, to do it for about 3 months and see what would happen. And so I took him up on the challenge, and the results, frankly, have been amazing for me. I can exercise as hard as I can possibly exercise on that piece of equipment or apparatus that he's taught me what to do. But I can exercise as hard as I possibly can. I don't have any swollen knee. I don't have any inflamed Achilles tendon. I don't have any of those things, which has allowed me to exercise, to get a sense of fitness again and to get a little bit back in shape. And I've noticed over the last 3 months that I now have some tightening and toning and strengthening that's happening. I'm seeing some definition that I haven't seen for a long time. And I'm feeling better than I have in 15 years. The Cellerciser has been amazing. I've loved it. I recommend it to everybody. That's why I Cellercise. So with that, I'll say, I wish you a fit, happy, and healthy life, and I really believe that if you'll incorporate the Cellerciser, you can do just that. Thanks a lot.